Beatrice, let us first of all celebrate the fact that we now have a template for a new beginning. And this template, as I have already indicated, gives us an opportunity to make a complete paradigm shift in the manner in which we have run the affairs of this country. But let me also remind my fellow Kenyans that this process of transformation is not going to bear fruits overnight. It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of sweat, and we all have to be there to keep it moving. Now, this question of integrity, we have a whole chapter in the Constitution that talks about leadership, integrity and leadership, and how to ensure that we really make a complete shift from the culture we have had, culture of impunity, culture of anybody can hold office anywhere, anytime, and move to a new culture of accountability, of transparency, that even the caliber of the people we place in public office must live up to public scrutiny. Now, of course, everybody would love to see this new scenario taking off from tomorrow. Beatrice, you have had, I've just come from a parliamentary session straight here, and we have had a very interesting debate in Parliament this afternoon on this very question. And the question has been, there are certain members of cabinet today that have been mentioned in connection with certain misdeeds, if I were to use a soft term. And we mentioned a number of cases, Golden Bag, Anglo leasing, the Triton oil saga, the maize scandal. And the question was, the chapter on integrity is emphatic, connected to the Economic Crimes Act, which is already in force, that if you are under investigation, that really you should not hold public office. So the question has been, are these ministers who are known to the public, are they going to take oath of office tomorrow? And that remains the big question. If you ask me, and I can understand the apprehension of the people, that they don't want to see business as usual, and they would love to see a new beginning from tomorrow. But at the end of the day, as the Speaker ruled, the prerogative to name cabinet, to appoint persons to public office, remains with His Excellency, the President of the Republic.
I'll put that
And
oath.
so at the end of the day, whoever is going to take oath of office tomorrow remains pretty much with the President.
Honorable Mute, it's a new beginning in terms of trying to clean up acts of impunity, so forth and so on. Your response to what Honorable Namwaba said?
I think a good starting point, beyond sort of disqualifying certain people from being sworn in, a very good, powerful signal would come from the President and the Prime Minister by living with the spirit of the new Constitution, in the sense that if you look at the amount of money we are using to pay over 40 cabinet ministers, nearly 80 assistant ministers, this new Constitution talks about a maximum of 22 ministers. Why don't they begin by actually cutting the size of the cabinet?
Before I get to the question on tribalism, I want to get your view there, Honorable Muturi, having been a former member of Parliament.
Well, I fully agree with the sentiments expressed. And I also personally feel that if we are really going to show Kenyans leading by example, then there is need to implement fully the Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity. And I know quite a number of Kenyans are actually waiting with bated breath tomorrow to see who is going to swear. The point that has been raised in some quarters is that there is within the transition provision that the persons holding offices as ministers and assistant ministers shall continue to hold until 2012 or until the next general elections. But of course, they are appointed by the two principals. So the two principals, as rightly pointed out by Honorable Mwite, have the prerogative to say, we want to lead by example, and since Kenyans have told us, it is not them, it is Kenyans, by voting so overwhelmingly for this draft, have said, we want you not to exceed 22 cabinet ministers, do away with assistant ministers. Whatever the political repercussions, it is the wish and the desire of Kenyans to see that implemented.
All right. I'm going to come to you, Mr. Kitonga, there. The question on tribalism, which goes back to my initial question on the tribal realignments that are being mentioned. And the gentleman is asking, if we are to rid ourselves of tribalism and start a new era, what can we do?
Well, the first thing is that the Constitution has tried as much as possible to address the question of negative tribalism, negative ethnicity. But over and above the Constitution, it must be realized that the question of tribalism is also a question of leadership. There must be leadership that assures Kenyans that they don't need to go into tribal alignments in order to benefit from the government, because it is not actually a benefit, it is your right. And that's why we have created counties, so that no matter what happens at the national level, you are assured at the grassroots level that you will have your right, your entitlement to the national cake. So as much as the Constitution tries to address the question of tribalism, it must also be realized that it is up to us as Kenyans to also look at our leaders and elect leaders who are committed to the elimination of tribalism. We know that it happened in Tanzania. They didn't have a constitution like we have, a beautiful one like we have, but they had a committed leadership that assured people that you don't need to go into tribal cocoons in order to get your just entitlement. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take another couple of questions. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Beatrice Marshall, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Caleb Wanga, a temporary resident of Nairobi, but a permanent resident of Siaya County. And I would like to take Kenyans just 2 years and 1 month ahead. And I hope Mr. Kitonga will help me understand this. The people of my village, somewhere in South Uganda, some place called Mudiero, they know the government, the face of the government at that level as a district commissioner, maybe a district officer, a chief or assistant chief. May you help me understand, where will this person called a district commissioner be maybe on 1st September 2012? Thank you.
All right. There's a comment here. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Beatrice. My name is Nicholas Mwenda. My question tonight is, how will the new constitution protect the mwananchi, the common mwananchi, from police brutality and harassment, especially when you tend to tell them that, let's say, especially when you tend to inquire what you have been arrested for, or when you tend to tell them that you know your rights. And my second question is that, how will Parliament make sure that the common mwananchi realize
Speak into
their
the
rights?
mic, please.
Realize their rights. Thank you.
Ask your second question again.
How will Parliament make sure that the wananchi realize their rights?
Okay, thank you. There's a comment there. Go ahead, please.
Kwa majina naitwa Gerisho Mchere. Mimi ningependa kuuliza Ababu na Mwamba. Kwa sports, especially girls, ni hii katiba itasaidiaje kuhakikisha kwamba kwa sports hata girls nao wamepatiwa nafasi? Alafu hii katiba itasaidiaje kuonyesha kwamba kuna players wengine kule mashinani, hasa Kitale? Kuna wakati ulikuwa Kitale, uliona pale Majengo, Pumwani, vijana na wasichana wanahangaika huko. Hii katiba itawasaidiaje? Alafu the second question, Paul Mwite, mimi ningependa kujua hii katiba itasaidiaje mimi, hasa kwa saizi kuhusu kesi ya defilement. Mtoto amerepiwa, umempeleka hospitali, akifika pale Shauri Moyo police station hapa Majengo, umeshika wale washukiwa, wamekuwa ndani, saa hii hawapatikani, hawako na wewe, wanakutafuta na askari. Itanisaidia namna gani? Sasa hii niko wanted.
Honorable Mwite, the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.